Okay, oops, let's turn the sound off before I hear my own voice. Let's see. Oops, that's the wrong one. There we go. Hey guys. How are you this morning? All right, the first thing we need to do is pick watercolors we want to paint with today, because I haven't done that yet. Let's see. We have Prima, the mixed palette, Van Gogh, Mayberry Blue. Well, it might be fun to use Mayberry Blue. We haven't pulled them out in a while. Mayberry makes 2 different levels of watercolor paints. The blue is the artist grade. I don't remember what the student grade is, but there is one. They're an Italian watercolor paint brand, I believe. And I don't have a full palette of them. I've been collecting them slowly. But they do have really fun colors and interesting names like Dragon's Blood, Garnet Lake. And then, of course, with the regular colors like sepia and Payne's Gray. So I think we'll maybe use this one. This will be fun because there's not really too many. Sorry, I'm getting all these notifications suddenly because I'm live. So, of course, it would happen while I'm live. Anyway, there's not too many like normal, regular colors. There's a few, but I think we're going to use this one today. So let's get it wet, get started. There's lots of different ways to get your watercolor paints wet. I'm a sprayer, obviously. But you can just like drop water into each well if you mean, you know, every watercolorist does it a little differently. So do what works for you. All right. Now, last week, I know there were suggestions flying about what to paint, and I don't remember what any of them are. I don't remember. So we're going to, we might do a couple of paintings this morning. I want to do an owl, but I want to do it like Jean Haines style and you know, with the non-traditional colors, like we did our nudes, where we, instead of using any flushed, we didn't use any flush tones. So I want to do an owl kind of that way, only, like I said, Jean Haines style, where it's kind of drippy and suggestive. And so we're going to try that. I have this book here. This is one of my bird reference books, and there's a bunch of different kinds of owls in here. And before you ask, this book is Birds of North America, Western Region by DK Publishing. I got it on Amazon used. It was not very expensive. So let's just, usually I like barn owls, and so don't be surprised if I do another barn owl. I have done one in the past. I just think they're the cutest thing. Hey, Ian. So we're going to do an owl. We'll end up doing a barn owl if I can't find one I like better. He's kind of cute. Boreal owl. I think we're going to do an owl. We're going to just use this for reference. I'm going to actually prop it up back here. I do have my book weight. I found it. So unexpected issue with reorganizing your studio when, for lots of different reasons, including anxiety disorder and other things, you have a really bad memory. You can't remember where you put stuff away. But I know I found my book weight. It took me a little bit. If we have time this morning, we are going to use some of these calendars, a picture in one of these calendars for reference for another little painting. These are from my husband's friend, Brent Fraser. He's a photographer. every year he takes a lot of pictures, and then at the end of the year he puts them into a calendar and has them printed, and he gives my husband, well, I shouldn't say gives, my husband buys one every year, and he has been for years, and I've been begging him for eons to bring them home so I can use them for painting inspiration. So finally this year he brought me a giant stack of them home, and we've used these as inspiration in the past, but it's been a while, so I thought we would pull another one out. Now Brent does sell these, and I will try to later on there we go, post the link to his website. I have quite a few years of calendar here, except this year because my husband kept it at his desk. Hey Gail. So I think that we're going to do the owl first, and then we will pull one of these out and use it for inspiration, unless you guys have a better idea. After we do the owl, we'll do that. Going to do the owl first. So let me put these somewhere. How about down here? All right. I've got my watercolor journal, which we're still trying to fill up. And let me just make sure I'm on camera. So we're still trying to fill this up. So I should be, I could be doing something on a loose piece of paper, but I really want to fill this journal up. I think I started it last year, so I would kind of like to fill it up. Of course, I'm really bad about dating things. See, I started it in 2014. So it would be really nice to finish it and fill it up. So calendars are definitely a great source of inspiration, especially if you get one from, a photographer. And maybe you have, like me, if you're like me, you have 4 or 5 photographers in the family, and it seems like every year they all put out a calendar, and I try to grab them when I can and put them in my stash of inspiration things, photographs. And I do think I have more inspiration material than I probably do watercolor paint, which is saying a lot. But, it's something that I refer back to a lot, and I love them. So we're going to just keep flipping here. Oh, thanks. I like to paint flowers. They're a lot of fun. Obviously, there's a lot of flowers in here. So I thought we would do like an owl in this kind of like we did the peacock. Here's our nudes, which went over very well. And you guys, a lot more of you tried it than I thought would. And I'm very proud of all of you for doing that. All right. So let's do an owl here. I have a cough drop in my mouth if I sound funny. That would be why. Okay, and I've got my rag. I think we're ready to go. Maybe. I don't know. All right, we need a brush. A couple of brushes. I'm going to get kind of a bigger. Let's see. This is an Escoda. I like this brush a lot. It's a good detail brush. And we're going to get out a toothbrush. We're going to put them all in water. I did make this book. I get asked about this book a lot. This book is from a course that one of the first online courses I ever sold. Right now it's available for purchase on Udemy, and you can download the video, or you should be able to. It will shortly be available directly from me through my website, and definitely will be downloadable. I have some computer work to do on that, and I have to organize the files and all that, but I'm working on it. Right now it's available over at Udemy, and there should be a link in the description to my Udemy channel. If there isn't, you can go to ginabahrens.com, and there's a classroom page that has a link to the Udemy class. I'm sorry that you have a migraine. Knock on wood, Haven't gotten one since I had my daughter, but when I was younger, I used to get them all the time. They're horrible, like blinding. You can't see and have to sit in a dark room migraines. They're horrible. So get better quick, rest, turn off the lights. I have a mixing plate in case I need it. I decided to put one out. So Ian, yeah, definitely. So then if that's the case, I would definitely hang on to them and use them for inspiration. They're fabulous. This is actually deli paper. You could use tracing paper, you could use vellum, you could use, if you have old typewriter paper, wax paper. I just want to prevent some of the drips and splatters from getting on the next pages. Although I like drips and splatters, I don't necessarily, you know, maybe I get blue drips and splatters on a page that I don't want blue on. That would be shocking, but. So we're going to start by making, getting one of these leftover colors that's on here wet. Oops. And I know, right? I'm just. Adding some color to the page. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And don't forget to set your resolution on your tablet. If you're on a tablet or smartphone, click on the 3 dots, then click on quality, then click on the highest resolution it'll allow you to. And before we get started, I'm going to put on some art guard because I almost forgot. Even watercolor paints have some pigments in them that are toxic, so you should protect your hands. You should use a barrier cream if you have one, and you should definitely wash your hands after you're done painting before you eat anything or touch your face. You could use parchment paper. Deli paper is like a dry wax paper, and you can get, I get it at my local restaurant supply. But you could use parchment paper. Deli paper is a little thinner than parchment paper, but use what you have. And honestly, any piece of paper will work for a barrier. If it is a little bit, you know, waxy, then it's a little bit more water resistant than regular paper, but use what you have. Okay, now that I remembered my barrier cream, I'm going to grab some of the permanent yellow, lemon yellow. Put some of that on here too. And yeah, migraines are horrible, aren't they? So this is the Mayberry Blue watercolor paints. There, I'm pretty sure they're Italian watercolors. You can get them at like Dick Blick. Art Guard is a barrier cream. You can also use Invisible Glove. There's a lot of different brands out there. This one is by Winsor and Newton. All right. So we're going to now, I'm going to go in with Indian Yellow. We're doing an owl. Hopefully it's going to come out looking like an owl. We'll find out. I don't know. So we're going to try to do it sort of Gene Haines style, which means we're going to suggest the shape, but we're going to keep it, you know, loose and splattery. And we're going to suggest, you know, lightness and brightness with color. I love this Mayberry Blue Indian Yellow. It's really bright. And yeah, we all feel bad for mama cats because we, you know, those of us who have been there know exactly, unfortunately, what she's going through. Poor thing. So I'm putting a little bit of color down where I want it to be real bright and look like the owl is in the sun. Sun's shining on him. He's very warm. Trying to suggest a few shapes, but not too many, not yet. Jean Haines, that's exactly right. And she has a number of books and videos out, DVDs out. The DVDs are fun to have, like when you're on a road trip or something. You can, you know, if you're not the one driving, which I'm usually not because I get too anxious and make everybody else in the car scared, I think. So I can put my DVD player on and I can watch one of her videos. Yeah, migraines are just miserable. All right, so we're going to go in with a little bit cooler color, Dragon's Blood, which is this really pretty red color. It's more of a warm red. And it's going to blend with the yellow, which I'm okay with. In fact, I'm going to encourage it to blend and run by putting some more water. I've been trying to lately share other YouTuber videos with you guys that I find that are very inspiring, not just for like mixed media, but also watercolor and other things. So I'm going to keep doing that if you all like that. To see those videos, you have to be in the Facebook group or on one of my other social media things. I don't know, what do you call those? Channels? Sites? Links? I don't know. You know, I got to tell you, we've only put 2 colors down there, but I'm liking him already. Okay. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's H-A-I. I love her website. Someday I would love to take a class from her. That would be so cool. Thank you, Watercolor Gypsy. My spelling is not good on a you know, it's not good on a good day. I agree with you. I love her books. I'm a big fan. I'm working through one of them right now. I need to open my water, and my hands are wet from the art guard. Okay. All right. right, let's keep going. All right, we're going to stay with the big brush. And this kind of thing is really great with a big brush because purposefully, because you have less control. And that's, you know, we're not working on realism, we're working on suggesting color and light. I'm taking some of the red and some water on my toothbrush, and I'm splattering that on. Uh-oh. Is it just me, or did you guys lose me? There we go. You guys aren't the only ones. I'm watching on my iPad, as I always am, and the iPad went out, but the display behind me on the computer is fine, and it says we're still broadcasting. So I'm not sure what it is. It must have been a YouTube thing. I don't know. I don't know. That was weird. I haven't done anything except splatter a little bit of the red with my toothbrush. That's all I did. I just dipped the toothbrush in the watercolor paint and then just did this and flicked it with the toothbrush. All right. Let's keep going. And going and going. Oh, sorry. We are going to go with some, I really want to put some magenta. I don't know why, except that it's pink. No worries, Rockland. We just barely got started, so it's fine. And you know, the replay is going to be on YouTube. All right, and before we do any drying, and I do think I'm to the point where I want to dry it a little bit so that colors won't mix as much. I'm going to add some purple. This is Garnet Lake. I have two purples in this palette. One is Garnet Lake, which is a, I don't know, like a grayish reddish purple. It's a pretty color. It wasn't just you that lost the feed, Gail. I lost my own feed. Like I said, the computer was still broadcasting, but YouTube wasn't showing me, so I don't know. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Now the iPad's wanting to go to sleep. The heck is going on with the feed this morning? Okay, you guys aren't the only ones having issues. There's something funny going on with YouTube this morning. Okay, if you're new to my channel, then you don't know, Daniel Smith is my favorite, and both of those colors are in my palette. I love them, and they're fabulous. You definitely could use Rose of Ultramarine in place of this primary red magenta, and Moon Glow in place of this Garnet Lake color. Definitely you could. They're fabulous, fabulous colors. Yeah, something's up with YouTube today because my computer is broadcasting to YouTube just fine, and it says it's still connected, but YouTube, I don't know what's up with YouTube today. Okay, we're going to dry this a little bit. Now, this is, yeah, try restarting your browser, or I just had to go back out of the broadcast and then back into it on my iPad, on my tablet. I'm going to dry this a little bit. It is watercolor. Those of you that work with watercolor know it can still reactivate, but it's going to be less likely to do so if I dry it first before I put any more colors. So we're going to do that. I'm pretty sure Cascade Green is in my palette also. As I'm drawing this, I'm going to go in where I have any sections that are not puddly enough. I like the play of puddles and the watermarks. I think that's why I like Gina Haines' style a little bit. A lot. And hang on a second, Watercolor Gypsy, and I'll get my Daniel Smith color key out. You can order a dot sample chart from Daniel Smith, and that includes samples of all 238 of their colors. And that's a great way as you're building your palette to test out the colors that you think you might like, which is what I did when I was building the Daniel Smith metallic palette that I have. Okay, so now that's wrinkly, but isn't it cute already? Okay, so my Daniel Smith metallic palette, which I just put together, has in it 7 iridescent colors. It has gold, Aztec gold, bronze, copper, ruby, electric blue, and blue silver. And then it has 7 duochrome colors: violet, fantasy, ocean, aqua, cabo blue, hibiscus, mauve, and violet. If you Rock Lim, if you just search for my name, Gina B Ahrens or Gina Bronzini Ahrens, I'm everywhere. And the Instagram link should be in the description of the broadcast. Also, it should be on my website, ginabahrens.com. I love seeing them granulate and separate, and I love doing that with all watercolors, but Daniel Smith colors do it the best, to be honest with you. This is my Daniel Smith palette, and yes, I have Cascade Green. So this is a 48 pan palette, and I have 52 in it because you can actually get one more color in each row. And you can tell by how well used this is, how messy it is, that it's very well loved. I love this palette. It's my favorite. And there should be a picture of this color key on my website. There's a Watercolor Wednesday page on my website, and there should actually be a picture of this color key on there, or a link to it or something. All right, let's keep going. We're gonna I think we're gonna try this brush. What is this called? I always wanted to call it a sword brush, the striper. Narda, I don't understand the question unless I missed something. Grit doctors? I don't know. I'm late. I don't understand. I missed something. Something important. I'm gonna go in with some turquoise because you all know I can't resist some turquoise. Dagger brush, that's it. Thank you. Actually, this is a Princeton one, and it says Striper. Oh, it does say dagger. It does say dagger. See, I'm having one of those days. I've been working on the secret project, and I've really been working on it a lot, and my brain is starting to get on overload. So you're working with watercolor, so start with your lighter colors and work your way darker. I'm glad to be painting right now because I've been stuck at the computer working on the secret project and paperwork associated with it literally 4 days, and it's nice to do something else, to be honest with you. It's very nice to do something else. I love the addition of that turquoise in there. The nice thing about this dagger brush is you can get a really thin line, you can get something larger and flatter. You have a lot of options with this brush that you don't necessarily with other brushes. And I like the Princeton brand because they're not too expensive. I know, isn't this owl turning out cute? So if I want a darker pigment or darker version of the pigment, then I'm going to pull it right out of the wet pan. If I want a watered down one, I'll pull it out down here. One of the fun things about watercolor, I think, is learning to control the water. It's a challenge for me, and I think that's why I gravitate towards a watercolor. So these fun little animal shapes, they don't take long, they're easy to do, and it's a fun way to play with color and light and really, you know, work on your colors and what you like and what works for you to suggest different shapes and different paintings. He is so cute. Holy cow. Okay, so I didn't get the eyes wet yet. We're gonna, let's see, we have some dark here. I think actually I need a different brush now. Yeah, we're gonna go with the Escoda brush, which is, this is a Escoda, it's a round number 8. And I'm going to take the color that was on here, which was probably Payne's Gray, and I'm going to add a little more pigment to it. Right, this is turquoise green, the blue that I was adding on there. These are Mayberry blue paints. Well, yeah, and the replay will definitely be here. So and, you know, I'll post pictures later. So I'm going to use the more watered down version of the Payne's Gray first to really darken up the shadows, and that will really get him to pop. They're cute. The paintings are cute with the goofy colors, but the dark shades really are what make them start to pop. So don't be afraid to get in there with your darker colors and your cooler colors. Now, I don't have white in this palette. I do in some of my palettes, but not this one. Jean Haines is not afraid to use white in her paintings. and I applaud her for that. I'm not either. But I'm a mixed media artist, and I don't have white in this palette, so we're going to just dry him and get out a little bit of gel pen. Okay, now I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to go into the Payne's Gray, and I'm going to go right into the palette, the pan, so we get something stronger. So this is, I have two kinds of Italian paint now. I have this one, the Mayberry Blue, and then I also have the new Zecchi, and I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it. I'm going to have to ask my aunt, who speaks Italian, how badly am I butchering that name, because I'm sure I'm butchering it very well. I never learned Italian, although I am of Italian heritage, unfortunately. And I like both of them. I still prefer Daniel Smith. I like the way they granulate. But that being said, these are very nice, and they're both very, very well pigmented. I'm barely touching the brush to the paper. Barely, barely. And I think he's just about done. I really like the way he looks, you guys. I'm going to mix some of the Dragon's Blood into the Payne's Gray, which should give us sort of a dark black color. Should give us something a little darker than just the straight Payne's Gray. It might, well, I shouldn't say that. It might. We'll see. Oh, that's pretty good. And I know there were some more questions there. I'll look at them in a second. Okay, we're going to dry this again, and then I'll look at the questions. So it's just, you know, different watercolorists have different opinions about it. It's sort of like lifting, or as I say, blotting. Some watercolorists say that you should be able to create your painting without doing any of those, or without using white, and you should be good enough to leave white space on the paper. I generally speak, while I don't necessarily disagree with that, I generally am having too much fun painting to remember to leave white space, to be really honest. And so it doesn't usually happen. And I am noticing one thing he needs on his beak. So I don't know. Some watercolors are okay with it, some aren't. Some think that the white is a waste of space. I actually am, I'm okay with it. So I'm wanting to take some of one of our dark colors. If I'm going to do this barn owl, he does kind of have like texture to his, or a ridge on his beak. So I'm looking at my reference photo, and there is like a ridge on his beak. So I'm just suggesting that ridge with some of the colors that I have here. I don't want to go too dark, and I don't want to go too much. So that's good. Yellow and turquoise always look fabulous together. I love them. Yeah, they do. They come from the sign writing trade, and I know, Ian, that they're also used, the dagger brushes are also used by auto painting detailers. I only know that because my husband watches a lot of auto painting detailing shows. Embossing ink pen. So Michael's had an embossing pen or out for like a hot second, and I like it, but now you can't get them anymore. Does anybody else have any suggestions for an embossing ink pen out there? There is another brand that makes one, and I can't remember who it is. Is it Ranger? And I probably even have one. If I can remember, we'll get him out. So he's cute and all, but he needs some white highlights. So we're going to just take a gel pen. Now, gel pens don't always want to write over watercolor, so just be aware of that. I'm going to give some highlights in his eye. And probably put something on his beak. You won't be able to see the part on his beak, probably at all. Right? He's the cutest thing. I love him. I almost put my pen in the water. Let me zoom in on his face for you guys. So I love him. He's cute. Let's do another painting, and let's do one of the calendar pages. We have plenty of time. It's only 10:38. And before we do that, let me see. I actually know where my embossing supplies are. That's one of the things I can actually find right now. Oh, I take it back. These are embossing pens, and these are by Zig. And I've actually had these a long time, and they work really well, and they don't dry up very quickly, which are great because I don't use my embossing tools a lot. So I would look for Zig. I do think Ranger has one too, and the Michaels one I like, but it was only out for like a hot second. You probably also could try and experiment with an empty paint marker, like a Molotow marker, in the size nib that you want to use, and then fill it with glycerin. I would actually try that and see if that works. And then you could customize your embossing pen. And embossing pens are nice because you can also use them as a resist for watercolor. Did you know that? So you can, put your design on there, let it dry, and then go over it with watercolor. It does not perfect, but it does give you an interesting effect. I'm going to move the paint so that we can look at the calendars. Now I have to zoom back out again. Okay. All righty. So the embossing pens, you can like draw a design or write words, and then while the pen is wet, sprinkle it with embossing powder, and then heat set it with your heat tool. Yeah, it's like a Versamark pen, which I think I also have around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. It might be in that drawer. I do have the Michaels one, which I like. I wish I could get more of them, and I really like this one. And it's by Recollections, and it was in their Color Splash line for like a hot second, and I really love this one, but now I can't find them anymore because I think they sold them out and they're not going to bring it back again. If you guys see these at Michael's, this Recollection resist pen, this is actually called a resist pen, but you can use it for embossing too. If you guys see this Recollections double-ended resist pen, get me 2 or 3 of them. I'll pay you back because I really love this pen, and this works great with watercolor. All right, let's pick a page. More painting. Let's see. And the white gel pen that I have is a Uniball Signo. I also have a lot of Jelly Roll pens. And yeah, if they smell funky, that's probably not a good thing. That's probably time to get some new pens. But you know, that's what happens if you have too many, honestly, if you have too many supplies, you know, then you don't use things up before they go bad. That's kind of the problem. I'm just looking for a picture that stands out to me. I should do this so you guys can see. That one's not bad. There's the dog, because, you know, he knows we're live, so he's got to bark and say hello. Okay, that one's not bad, so let's put that one up here. It takes me longer to find one that I want to paint than it does to paint it. I think we've done that one before. I'm running out of room on my table. I really kind of think I want to do this one that I pulled out already. Yeah, let's do this one that I pulled out. Yeah, I like the Zig pens, but there is a Versamark pen. I do think Ranger makes an embossy pen, but you might try getting an empty paint marker and filling it up with glycerin and seeing if you like that. That would probably be what I would try. All right, so we're going to try this one. Again, these are by Brent Fraser, and this is Sunset Fog over Fremont. Sunset over Fog, Fremont Pink, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Sunset over Fog, Fremont Peak, San Juan Bautista, California. There, I did it. Yay. All right, so I'm going to prop that up behind the iPad. And I think so that we can see these side by side, I'm going to do it. I'm going to skip these two interior pages and do it here. And I will, maybe next week, maybe we'll do the two interior pages in the flip there. I really liked something Robin Marie Robert Smith posted earlier this week. One of the ladies from Documented Life. I liked the layout of the page. It was actually not by her, it was by somebody else. And I liked the layout of the page. So we're going to try something I got. This is a Sharpie pen. This is not water soluble. It's waterproof. And I'm going to just draw like a rectangle on my page. Those of you who follow her will recognize the style. And then I'm going to draw some squares underneath. I can add one more if I need it. These are going to be for the paint colors that we're using. Okay, so now we're going to just use paint today. Let's protect our owl because he's too cute. All right, we're going to start with a light color and the large brush, and we're going to start with the permanent lemon yellow. Oh, nice. Arches paper is always good. And I love a good journal, but they're on my do not buy list right now. I'll give you one guess why. I have too many of them. So they're on the I don't think so list. Okay, I'm going to take some of that yellow and some water. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of that yellow and I'm going to paint one of these squares. There we go. And then we'll write the color name underneath. Okay. Yeah, right? So I can't go to the Etsy page because it's on my do not buy list. I have so many, like my studio is only so big and I have so many little like pads of paper like hiding everywhere. So keeping with the same kind of drippy, suggestive style, which is what I really like, if I haven't said that enough already, we are going to suggest this painting from the picture that Brent took. And there's a big, like dark, shadowy mountain shape here in the front. So if I get some marks down here that I don't like, that doesn't matter because they're going to be covered up. But I want to really work on the water and the background first and get that where I really like it. Now, the sky is sort of, it's a sunset, so it's a purpley blue shade. If it mixes too much with the yellow or the orange, it's going to just turn brown. We don't want a brown sky. So I'm going to take some of this, dry it and lift it with my rag. And let that sit for just a minute. And I'm going to come in with this grayish Haines gray color, which I think might be a good color for this. I might want to add a little bit of the purple to it. Let's see. And here's a watercolor tip for y'all. So, you know, if you're making your color keys for your watercolor palettes where you have this sample swatches, and you're a messy painter like I am, laminate them. Laminate them. It's the best thing. Otherwise, you ruin your swatches. Yeah, it's not good. So that's turning a little bit brown because it's a little too wet. So we're going to just come in here with the rag. And I'm going to, before I do anything, come in with some primary yellow. And I'm going to just go around here. This is primary yellow, which is brighter and less chalky than the lemon yellow. The lemon yellow is like a little bit opaque and kind of chalky because it probably has some Chinese white in it. I'm going to blend some of this out and then we're going to get in here and dry it so we can add more colors on top. So, okay, so I'm just catching up on comments here, and packing tape is a great idea, but just make sure you laminate them some way. My travel journal is a hardcover travel journal, and I think it's Strathmore. But I have a number of different ones, so you know, whatever one that you pick that fits in your budget, that has the paper that you like. All right, so that's dry-ish. I did make sure that I put my colors I've used so far down here, except for the Payne's Gray, which we're going to do right now. And we've used some of the Garnet Lake because I mixed it with the Payne's Gray. And I would venture to guess that we're going to Dragon's Blood. So before we get any farther, we're going to write the names down. And this is a great thing to do if you're testing out different kinds of paints and you're swatching them and stuff. All right, so let's go back to our grays and our purples. And we've mixed our Garnet Lake and our Payne's Gray together over here. Hi, Heather, how are you? And hi, Val, how are you? All right, so we're going to go in with this mixture of Payne's Gray and Garnet Lake. Made this gray color. We're going to put a little bit of it down, and then we're going to come in with some water. It may blend a little bit with the orange and get a tad muddy, but it shouldn't do too badly because we've dried those other colors. Oh, sorry, a sinus infection. That's horrible. Okay, I do want to come in with the Dragon's Blood. Let's see, I think I need a little more water in there. Okay. I'm going to start to suggest our hills that are in this picture. Yeah, a watercolor block is really easy. I have a, like I said, I have a journal I take with me. It's a hardcover journal, but you know, whatever there's no wrong way. There's just your way. So you know, just we're mixed media artists. That means we get to break all the rules. It doesn't matter. The sound was gone. That can't be good. You know, I'm telling you guys, I think something's up with YouTube today. I am, Heather. So this is a picture taken by a friend of my husband's, Brent Fraser. He's a photographer, besides being in the semiconductor industry. And he painted that photo. And my husband buys his calendars every year. And finally, after me asking my husband for years to bring the calendars home with him, he finally did. So I got it. I got a whole stack of them. Okay, so I'm mixing some of the Dragon's Blood with some of the permanent lemon yellow. And we're going to just make this a little bit more orange up here above the water line. Yeah, I heard from some people that it was weird crazy yesterday too. I heard that. Who was it that said something? Was it Teresa Sim? She was having trouble uploading something. Was that yesterday? Neti pots are not comfortable, but they do work like a charm, Heather, if you haven't tried it yet. They're not my favorite thing, but they do work really well. I know, don't you love the name Dragon's Blood? Mayberry Blue has a few colors that have really cool names like that, Dragon's Blood, which I just love. I think that's the coolest thing. I'm loving where this is going to. I will show you guys that came in late at the end. The owl that we did earlier, this is actually the second painting that we've done today. I'm going to come in with some of the Garnet Lake. Let's see, I think, I don't know. You know, I never plan these things out very much. So when you see me in these broadcasts and I seem to be winging it, it's because I really am. I really am. So I'm going to start suggesting the foliage on. So in my mind, Ian, if you started using more than the one medium, it's mixed media. Now, that might be wrong. I don't know what the proper definition is, but I also don't like definitions necessarily. So I am one that loves to break rules. Ask my parents. Ay. Ask my parents someday. If you're in the Facebook group, my mom's in the Facebook group. You can ask her. I love to break rules. Got me kicked out of the house. I was a rule breaker. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and I agree with the essential oils thing. I use them on a regular basis, and they are a godsend. They work fabulously. I don't know what the proper definition of mixed media is. It may be when you use more than 2 different mediums in the same piece. But whatever makes you happy, do that. You know, and because we're mixed media artists and we're creatives, we should just be free to be us and be who we want to be, and to hell with the rules. Of course, like I said, my mom would just be cringing if she was watching right now, because yeah, I was definitely a rule breaker kid. And I wasn't even the worst one ever, kids that broke rules. Oh, my poor mother. So this is the Payne's Gray mixed with the Garnet Lake. And these are hills in front of this foggy, beachy scene, and the hills are covered in foliage. So I definitely don't want them smooth and even. I want them blotchy and uneven to suggest the foliage. So that's the way I'm painting these, is definitely intentional. And I'm just slowly making them darker. Rule breakers unite. I love that, Heather. And yeah, Ian, if you're happy with calling it a mixed media piece, then call it that. And, do what makes you happy. And don't listen to the doubters, because they won't make you happy. Okay, I am going to take some of this color, watered down Payne's Gray and Garnet Lake, and I'm gonna, I know you're all like screaming, what are you doing? Okay, you can always like lift some of it if it gets in the wrong spot. I'm gonna leave the rest of it. Yeah, I'm a rule breaker. I got in a lot of trouble growing up. Not a lot. I mean, I never got arrested or anything, but my parents had a lot of rules and I didn't like them. Because, you know. So I didn't dry this again. It's wet and I'm okay with that. And this Payne's Gray is going to mix a little bit with the other colors that are on here. It'll give me that sort of blotchy look that's suggestive of foliage, though, that I want. So we're going to stick with that. And it's going to kind of bloom and bleed into the other colors. And like I said, it's going to suggest that foliage look that we want. Yep, do what makes you happy. Definitely. All of you should be just doing what, life is too short not to do what makes you happy. That's the ultimate thing. If there's a definite rule about it out there, I don't know what it is. Just FYI, I have no idea. I'm purposefully having it like drip and run. I love the kind of field journal notebooky look of that, right? Field sketchbook look. I love where this is going. Again, with the other picture, I love where it's going. So I'm going to take some of my Garnet Lake again, mix it with some of the yellows and oranges we have here. There you go. Life is too short not to use white paint in your watercolor. I totally agree with that. Okay, I love that. I'm going to stop painting now because I love that way that looks and I don't want to mess it up anymore by touching it again. Let's see. So okay, so I'm going to answer Heather's question about how long I've been painting. If there are questions before that that I've missed, please type them again. And while I'm talking, I'm going to show you the owl we did earlier for those of you who came in late. This is the owl we did earlier. So I've been doing art my whole life. I was always one of these kids in the 60s, well, any kid at any time that can't sit still. I didn't do idle very well. And when I did, I got, you know, sucked into like the TV and then you couldn't get me away from the TV. I'm sure there's some kind of diagnosis for that today. I know that when my daughter was young and she had some issues and we went through testing with her, including obsessive compulsive disorder, she didn't have any of the traits, but I had all of them. So I was definitely one of these kids that had to be occupied in a constructive way. And my aunts, two of my aunts, one on each side of the family, were both artists and art students. And so I always grew up coloring and painting with them. And my grandmothers were both needlework artists. And so I know how to sew and embroider and crochet and knit and all of that stuff. So I was always crafty, but I've always loved paint. Now back in about, I stopped painting and crafting and everything for about 5 years when I first met my husband. God help him. He had no idea what he was getting into, I don't think. And then I picked it up after we met and have been going strong ever since. After my daughter was born, I was in a artist cooperative gift shop thing. I'm sure you guys all have like at least one in your area. That's a place where you rent space. And I had a booth there for a long time. Mostly it was crafty things because they're honestly easier to sell. And I really kind of stopped painting for a long time. I picked it up again while I was at that shop. One of the owners was very into mixed media art, and I had never heard of it before. This was around 2006, 2007, and I thought that sounds really interesting. So I started picking it up again then, and I started with watercolor doodles. I've always loved watercolor. I love its portability. I love the challenge of controlling the water. There's nothing really about it I don't like. And now that I've discovered Gene Haines, I love it. So I've been going steady ever since then. As the years have gone by since then, I've done more painting and mixed media and less crafting. That doesn't mean I don't still pick up the crafts occasionally and do something, but I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff because I don't enjoy that part of it. I used to be a professional seamstress, although I don't really like sewing. And I'm a published machine knit designer, although I don't really care for knitting. So I've tried all of them. When I say that if you go into Michael's, I've tried 90% of everything in the store, that's not a lie or exaggeration. I have tried it. I don't like most of it, but I love watercolor and I keep coming back to it. So that's kind of a long answer to your question. I think my go-to subject is actually floral. If I don't know what else to paint, I'll do flowers. I do a lot of landscapes, but they're not my go-to subject. I think my go-to subject is probably flowers, because if I don't know what to paint, I'll paint flowers. I have a lot of friends, Watercolor Gypsy, that don't do art at all, and so they don't get any of it. They don't get any of it, not at all. Okay, how are you so good at stopping and not overworking? Practice, and I'm not always good at it. Sometimes I go too far with something. So you just have to practice and figure out what works for you. And if you're at a place where you think, I really like that, even if experts out there say that you should keep going with it because it's not done yet, listen to your own inner voice and listen and follow that direction that you're being given. And that's the most important thing, is listen to yourself and what makes you happy, not anybody else. You don't have to make anybody else happy except you. Art should be about enjoying the process and not about anything else. If you can make money off of it, fabulous. And then tell me how you did it, because I don't know what people think that, I'm not making money at it at all. Hardly at all, I should say. Very little, hardly enough to keep me in paint. So if you guys figure out how to do more than that, let me know. Just make yourself happy, but practice. When I first started doing mixed media, I constantly overworked pieces and went too far with things. I did learn through that process, though, to start listening to my own voice and what I really wanted to do with my work. So Ian, even Wikipedia doesn't have a exact number of mediums to use in a piece before it's mixed media. So I think that if you just use, a mixture of things, sketching and painting and, pen work, collage, then that's mixed media. And if you just have collage and paint, that's still mixed media. If you just have two things, I tend to do more like sketching and paint than anything else. I do collage sometimes, but especially in this journal this is just like, and there's some stamping in some of these. Early on, I did like rubber stamps in the background. And so that's definitely mixed media because you've got stamping and paint. But whatever makes you happy, I wouldn't listen to the rules. Break them hard, and do what makes you happy. And I think flowers are easier than anything else because they're from nature. So they're not perfect, they're uneven. There's really no wrong way to do them. And you can do sort of a pretend made up flower like this one and still have it look like a floral shape and suggest what you want, but have fun with the shape. So I've done a lot of floral tutorials on Watercolor Wednesday and Watercolor Wednesday Live. So there's all of these are on there. I don't think there's hardly any paintings in this book that haven't been filmed, to be honest. Are there any other questions? Did I miss any questions? Did I answer everything in a good enough way? Because my brain does feel a little foggy this morning. I think like I said, I think I've been in front of the computer too much. And you're welcome, Heather. So in a couple weeks, after the initial palette setup videos come out for my 2 new watercolor palettes, yes, I have 2 new ones. If you don't follow me on social media, I have the new Daniel Smith metallic palette, which I showed. Aren't those pretty? And then I have this new one that I don't know how to pronounce the name, Zeki Ferenzi. I know that's wrong. I got the small 12-pan palette because they were super hard to get and super expensive. But the colors are beautiful, but they're more opaque than I'm used to. They remind me of the Mission Gold paints a lot. In their opacity and their pigmentation. So we will be, after you see the setup process for these videos, we will be doing pages in the book with these paints. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Ian, it definitely is like blowing up a balloon, and you just have to know when to stop before you pop the balloon. But it's like doing portraiture. There's no shortcut. I love a good shortcut, but there's no shortcut. There is only the long way and practice, and that's the best way to find out for you what you need to listen to to yourself, and to know when to stop. Is you just need to practice. And Heather, yes, I might need an extra cup of coffee today, because not only have I been working on the secret project like crazy and in front of the computer, but I haven't been sleeping well because, you know, Mrs. Menopause has decided now to, you know, have some of the symptoms come back with a vengeance, and insomnia is one of them, which isn't helping. Oh, I'm so glad, Watercolor Gypsy, that you liked it. And yes, the metallic palette. So I have to tell you, the metallic palette was definitely inspired by the new Prima metallic palette that's coming out. And I really decided that I didn't really need to add a lot of metallics to my palette, and my range of palettes, because I do have twinkling H2Os. But if I was going to add metallics to my range of paints, what would best serve me would be to have a fine art quality set of metallic paints. So that being in mind, and knowing that Daniel Smith is my favorite, and they have a lot of metallics, I decided to set up a Daniel Smith metallic palette. And when I did it, I took, the video hasn't come out yet, but you see this in the video. And this nude that we showed last week, the background for her is the test page for all the metallic samples I had when I was trying to figure out what colors to order for this palette. And I used the Daniel Smith 238 dot chart to figure out, and I swatched every single one of them I could find on the dot chart, and then slowly developed the paint range for this palette. And I talk about that in the video when you see me setting it up. And I think the Daniel Smith palette's part 1. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad you guys like the live broadcast. If you guys ever don't like the live broadcasts, I'll stop doing them. But that hasn't been the case so far. So yeah, the nudes were a lot of fun. These are the nudes from last week. They were a lot of fun. And I definitely would recommend you guys give them a try. What did Ian say? He say that I am a fauvist? He's probably right. I do love doing a good figure, whether it's human or animal, in non-traditional colors. It's my favorite way of doing a painting. I will do them the other way, but I don't like it. Even when I did the elephant, you see, it's non-traditional colors. The peacock's probably as close to traditional colors as I got, but he's got all the splattery things in the background. So no, the Daniel Smith metallics have to be bought individually in tubes, and then you have to set them up in the box. So Daniel Smith paints they come individually. Like this. So I bought tubes that I wanted in the colors I wanted, and I bought 12 of them because I already owned 2 and they weren't in my other palette because I didn't have room for them and wasn't sure what to do with them. And then when I decided to set up this palette, I realized I already have 2 colors. And so I put them in here. And I ordered them directly from Daniel Smith out of Seattle, which I can't wait to go back to. If you guys have the chance to be in Seattle and go to this Daniel Smith factory and store, do it. Do it, do it, do it. It's fabulous. And they have way more than Daniel Smith paints. Oh, that would be interesting to try. Ian, why don't you PM me the name of it, and I'll see. I'm a helping artist with DecoArt. I will see if it's on the list to try. No, mixed media palettes that are not spiral bound or loose leaf are hard to find, and that's one of the reasons why I started making bound journals. You could do mixed media on a watercolor journal, remember, and you can also do mixed media in a I love the Delusions journal. Just don't use anything in it that's too wet because the paper can't handle watercolor and that kind of thing. Okay, so this palette has in it iridescent. You ready? Okay, iridescent gold, Aztec gold, iridescent. I'm sorry. Okay, so this has 7 iridescent colors, which are iridescent gold, iridescent Aztec gold, iridescent bronze, iridescent copper, iridescent ruby, iridescent electric blue, and iridescent blue silver. Then it has 7 duochrome colors, which are a metallic color that has like 2 colorways in it. So like the pearly one looks pearly in one direction, but then if you turn it the right way, it's violet. So that one's duochrome violet, duochrome ocean, duochrome aqua, duochrome cobalt blue, duochrome hibiscus, duochrome mauve, and duochrome violet. Yeah, so I ordered 12 tubes, and these are the metallic colors don't come in the small 5 ml tube. They only come in the 15 ml tube. So I ordered them all at once, but you could just do, if you're going to build a palette, you could just do a couple colors at a time, whatever your budget allows. And if you have a store near you that carries Daniel Smith, they probably have some of these, so you could build up your palette that way. And if they don't have the particular color you want, I bet they'll order it for you if you ask. I missed those drops of water. I'll have to go back and watch. Oh yeah, so the drops of water is a different video. Yeah. You know, I used to paint with a lot heavier hand and be less free with my marks than I am now. One trick I would say to try, Narda, it would be to switch to your non-dominant hand, because you have way less control, and that can be a very good thing when you're trying to be freer and less restrictive with your painting style. And I still do that occasionally, although now I have less control over my left hand than I used to since surgery, and it takes me a lot more concentration to keep a hold of the paintbrush because I have some numbness in this hand. But it's still a great way to loosen up my marks. And I think that it might, you know, I'd like to think at some point that it's a good therapy for me to do it. I don't know that that's true because it's not getting any better, but. So this one, Heather, I made. This one is part of a class I teach over on Udemy. The link for the class should be on my website, GinaBAhrens.com. There's a page called The Classroom, and there's another one that has to do with classes too. I don't remember the name of it, but it should be over there on my website. You can get it through Udemy. You will be able to get it soon directly from me. I'm not done setting that up in Dropbox yet, but at some point it's going to be not sold on Udemy anymore, and it'll be coming directly from me. For right now, you can get it through Udemy, and the videos I think all should be downloadable. Yeah, so these are not cheap. They range from like $10 to $20 a tube. It depends on the color and the pigments used in the color, Gail. I think most of these were about 11 something a tube. So it wasn't cheap. I had to save up for it. But you know, when I first started building up my watercolor paint collection, I would go to my local art supply with $20 and buy however many tubes of the colors and brand I wanted with the $20. And I just build up my collection that way. They're totally worth the money. Daniel Smith is totally worth the money. It just, yeah, hurts the budget a little bit. I'll look it up, Ian. Thank you. And I do have a big thing of metallic paints. I like a good metallic paint. I love, especially though, a metallic watercolor. And I love the fact that I have this palette now. So like if I wanted, I could take this and my regular travel palette with me on vacation. And wouldn't that be fun? That's one of the reasons I like these small pocket palettes. Ian was talking about a metallic paint. There is different kind of interference and iridescent mediums that you can add to your acrylic paints. I know Liquitex has one. I think Golden might have one. It looks like DecoArt has one. So you can use them straight, or you can add them to your acrylic paints to make them metallic. And that's, you know, if you can't afford a whole bunch of metallic tubes of paint, that's a way to go, is to get a medium that you can mix with your paint to make it metallic. Now, some of the Mission Golds are really expensive. I love the Mission Gold paints, but they're really expensive. And they're not they don't granulate as well as Daniel Smith, and they don't, you know, I love the transparency of Daniel Smith. I love the way they granulate. They're really my favorite paint. They do. And I was looking at the Finetec paint palette and the Prima palette when I decided I wasn't going to waste money. For me, I wasn't going to waste my money on a non-artist quality paint, and I was going to invest in the Daniel Smith. That was my personal choice. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Finetec paint or the Prima paints. I'm sure they're fine. But right now, I can only do one or the other. And for right now, I wanted to get the Daniel Smith. That doesn't mean at some point I won't get the Finetec paint and maybe even the Prima. For right now, though, I had to pick one. I couldn't do all of them. All right, that's it for today, everybody. I am going to eat some lunch, and I've got to go over to Staples and take care of some stuff for the secret project, answer some email. I got to film Playing with Textures Part 3. Yeah, so you also can go with twinkling H2Os. You can make metallic paints out of Pearl X powders and things like that by adding gum arabic to them. So there's lots of ways to get a metallic palette into your repertoire on a budget. So figure out what your budget is and then figure out what paint you want to invest in. None of these are bad. I think Pearl X even has a metallic palette, and I used to have it like a million years ago. It's in a CD case, and it's pretty small, but it worked great. So, oh, I know, my new punch is fabulous, isn't it? And that's how come I found, let's see, that's how come I remembered Daniel Smith had metallic paints, because I was taking my watercolor sample cards and putting them into this new book. And as I was doing it, I realized, and this is the 238 dot chart all cut up. As I was doing it, I realized that Daniel Smith had a bunch of metallic colors. See, there we go. And I thought, ooh, I can make my own metallic palette. I love that. So yeah, I love my new punch. You're welcome, everybody. I am going to go now, and I want you to remember a couple of things. First of all, don't listen to anybody else except yourself. Do what makes you happy. If you like what you do, then cool. If you want to be better, great. There's people out there that can help you with that. But if you like what you do, that's the most important thing. All right? And just be free and break all those rules. Break them hard. All right? And go out and do something nice for yourself. Maybe invest in some metallic watercolor paints. All right? And because you deserve it. Yeah, and these turn out cute. I'll be putting some photographs on social media later. All right, that's it for today, everybody. I will be back on Monday with DecoArt. And I think we're going to do one more nude in acrylic. We'll do a female nude on Monday. And then we're done with the nudes for a while. And I think that's it right now. If you have any more questions, something I missed, something I overlooked, or something I didn't answer completely, then you can PM me here on Facebook. You can put a comment in the video after it finishes processing here on YouTube. You can also join my Facebook group and tag me in a post over there. If you tag me, I'm more likely to see it. The group is growing really big, and I try to catch up with everything, but sometimes I have an easier time with that than others. So all the links for all of those things are in the description below, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye, guys.